Before I start, let me thank all my viewers for the love and support they have given to our first episode. I'm very overwhelmed with the response and would like also to mention that we are working on the on improving our technical glitches. With the same excitement and energy, let's move to our second episode of Being Informal with. I welcome all of you. So this second episode, the story of this second episode, it began in 2015, and that too at the same time around this year, around August and July. This was the time when we were organizing the International Youth Nuclear Congress in China in 2016. And as the Indian representative, it was my responsibility to find a young and dynamic speaker from India to speak on that platform as a panelist. So while I was searching for it, I landed up in meeting the personality we have today with us. And the best part was he agreed to it. So I'm talking about the man who has given more than half a century of his life to the Department of Atomic Energy, to research, to fundamental understanding of materials and in the field of material science. He is one of the great academician, Padam Shri Awardee, former chairman of Atomic Energy Commission. He is presently the chancellor of Homi Bhabha National Institute and avid Tech Talk speaker. We have Dr. Banerjee with us, Dr. Shri Kumar Banerjee. Please help me in welcoming sir. Sir, it's a great pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
So, as you know, today we have got this opportunity to know more about him, about his journey, about the life. He has a very inspiring life, I would say he has so far. And we all want to know about him, more about him. And all this story of life is, I feel it's incomplete without friends. As you all know, friends are the people who know us from in and out, and they are the people who knows all the crazy secrets about us, and that's what makes a life a real life. So to enlighten us with such interesting information about Dr. Banerjee, we are fortunate to have three of his friends who were closely associated with him during his career, his growth, and in his life in general. So we have with us Dr. Jatinder Yakhmi. He is the former director of chemistry group in Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Welcome to the show, sir. We have Shri S.A. Bhardwaj, who is the former chairman of Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. We welcome you, sir. We have Dr. Ashish Ray, who is the former director of Beam Technology Group in Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So I welcome all of you on this show, and we'll now begin our conversation with Dr. Banerjee, and we'll try to know more about him. So, sir, as far as I know, you are one of the youngest people I have met at the department when I was there at BARC. And as I remember, you are the only person I have seen on TED Talks, which is like one of the brand these days in the field of communication. So I just want to quickly start with that only, like how this journey from your early careers to the TED Talks. How will you summarize it, and then we can follow, I think. Thank you, sir.
Okay, it is a very interesting, and I would never say that I had any idea how exactly the journey is going to be. We don't know the road where it is going to. So as I joined BARC, the first thing that came, I mean, when I came to the training school, the first thing I realized that the talents which are there all over the country is really amazing. See, typically, I had a pride that I'm coming from IIT, tell you very frankly. That pride maybe in first 1 month or so disappeared. Because then I realized there are so many other people who are not just as good, much better than you. So this realization is extremely important that I got. And personally, I feel like that. Some of them are so bright in conceptualizing. I knew some people who could formulate things mathematically in a natural way, which was difficult for me. So there are many such things which I have personally noticed and got that feeling. So then, that's a very important thing, because then you start learning. Otherwise, you feel that you know everything. No, I never had that feeling. So that is the starting point. Now, the second important thing was that I had no idea. This is in the training school. Training school is a wonderful institution where, I was exposed to kind of a cosmopolitan environment in IIT. So that was not a new thing for me. I was used to much worse food than what we get in training school hostel. So I had no difficulty on that. There are some people who had difficulty. We were actually enjoying. And we were the batch who was in training school hostel in Bandra. So the room, which it's not a room, it's a barrack. The barrack which I was staying is actually facing the sea. In the high tide, the water level used to come just within a few feet from my doorstep. So being in that kind of an environment was a completely different environment. I never had an opportunity of that type in my life. So, and so from the interaction with the friends was something which I really appreciated. Some of the teachers, I think in my life, the best teacher I had in mathematics was in training school. One Dr. Tracy was there. He was actually reactor physicist. But such a teacher, I could never imagine. In fact, another teacher I remember is Dr. L.V. Krishnan in reactor physics. Recently, there's a book coming out, and I have also written in that foreword about his name, because it was fantastic teachers. So these kind of things are there. But after that, when I joined the metallurgy division, you see, being trained as an engineer, we thought that, personally, my feeling was that I'll do something which is of sort of direct use. I know that, okay, you're doing something for a reactor component. But the group I joined was very much academic. It's a group led by a physicist, Dr. R. Krishnan. But he shaped my initial career very beautifully, I would say. I'll tell you how. So the point that came that, but I was changing from an engineer's perspective of making things, doing things, and that kind of a thing, to understanding things. It's a completely different thing. See, doing things or doing something achievable, that is one type, and understanding some phenomena, and that too in the extremely microscopic level. We had a not working electron microscope to start with. So most of the time we used to work on cleaning up of the system and that kind of thing. It was very mundane work. So you feel that what for all that study that we did to come for this kind of a work. So it was in that sense not very attractive to beginning. But research, you have to get a taste of research. I always compare, the tigers are not by birth man-eaters. If they taste the blood of human being, then only they become man-eater. So you have to test the research and get the test. If you get the test, then only you like it. Before that, you will not like it. This is true for anything. Whether you take, say, classical music or any aspect, unless you have to go through. Have you seen people trying to play with a violin in the beginning? It is one of the ugliest noise that you can make. But
I
the same
did that.
Yes. So you need to cross that barrier. So that is one which Dr. Krishnan's guidance, and he brought a discipline. See, second important point is the discipline. Because in research also you may stray into something. See, if you go to a library without knowing, today nobody goes to library, that's a separate issue. But at our time, we used to go to library. And there are so many books, so many interesting things. You look around, and then after your visit for few hours, you have got nothing. Unless you go with a list that these are the things I'm looking for, these are the articles I'm looking for. I have notes, I have to, those days noting, and not, Xeroxing was also not there. So if you do that, in fact, I feel that whatever paper I have got Xerox, I have never read. But whatever I have written down in my notebook, that only I have read. So Xeroxing and all these aids, I don't believe very much. So that is how my career started. And but you need some successes. So I had some early success in research, very early. So that was very important for me. Well, I was a very young fellow. I had no idea what is a research paper, and sending a research paper to a reputed journal was unthinkable for me. But once it happened that I wrote up a paper, gave it to Dr. Krishnan, and then finally we sent it to the best possible journal, I would say, that Acta Metallurgica, which was in the material science, and submitted there. Within some 7 days or 10 days, I don't remember, I got a, those days Aerogram used to be there. Aerogram is not available today. In Aerogram, a reply came that we received the paper acknowledging, and we are accepting it, with no other comment, 2 lines. So it's an acknowledgement or an acceptance. That also I could not recognize. But then one sentence was there, you will be soon getting the proof of the paper. So that means it is accepted. So when I got that, it was I remember that I was told this story, that when the first paper from BRC was published in this journal in Actamet, and then Brahmaprakash was the director, he took the authors of those papers to, those days it was in OIC, they took them to Taj for a lunch. So that was a kind of reward. So I didn't get a lunch in the Taj, but that gave me the boost that we can also as well do something in the international research platform. So that is how it started. Then next ambition. Okay. Is it possible that our work is at least somebody writing a review article or a book will at least quote 2 sentences from my work? That's the next ambition. You should not just do something, but it is acceptable in the scientific circle, your peer circle. So that was one. It started coming, and then the next thing, is it not possible I can get a chapter from our own work, that kind of a thing. And even later, is it possible that our own work, so the work we started work on, and that trend was there that I must do something related to the departmental work. So the zirconium niobium work started, and that we did, and that was part of my thesis also. My thesis also was very strange. I was trying to get myself registered with, first with IIT, but IIT didn't have a system of taking an external student. So they will say that we can accept the student, but we can't accept your guide because there's no system. So I thought that, then I wanted after about 1.5 years of that struggle, then I said, okay, you give me a transfer certificate, I'll get registered in Bombay University. Then a reply comes, no, you have already got registered 1.5 years back. So that was a great thing that I have got already registered 1.5 years, I didn't even know it. So then your residence time gets reduced, and I had to do some 1 year residence period in IIT Kharagpur, which also was sort of relaxed. I have to go there only for appearing in exam. So that was but I should not, it's open, no, so that's a problem. I cannot tell anything more. But I managed that, and it is over. So that was one thing. Second is that really the initial boost of getting some success in the research made my career change completely, because then I was totally tuned to do research, and I was really enjoying it, and got also good chance of working in some laboratory, once in Sussex and once in Max Planck Institute. Then I also saw in England, I saw that, but I was particularly impressed in the German system of their education, and that actually I was in a very sort of it's a group, it's a materials group, but that was a physics of materials kind of thing, and they're very sort of the physicists who would not deviate from their path. It's so very they are almost like religiously follow a path, that kind of a thing. So it was but there is a lot to learn from them. The systematic way of doing research, and you apparently see that everybody is very relaxed. In that laboratory in Max Planck Institute, the thing was that Germans don't take very big breakfast. So they feel very hungry by about 11:30. So, but then they will go out it was next to a big forest. So they'll go for a run for a few kilometers. They will all, and then they are extremely hungry. So then from 11:30 onwards starts this break of lunch plus exercise plus all that thing. Everything is over by about 2 o'clock. Then they'll have a coffee session and coffee with cakes. So like that, you find that these fellows, where are they working? So this was my first feeling. But they have an archive, a small room where their research publications are kept. And if you enter, that's a very small room. But that archive had those filing cabinets. Again, those was not the days of computers. And you can see their productivity. You're amazed to see the productivity. So that also gave me another learning that if you are methodical, it's not the total time you spend like that, but you finally can be extremely big productively in science. So these are learnings that we had in my. So I had, then I was expanding my area a little more, because while working in zirconium as a system, my interest was in phase transitions, how one phase, solid state, one phase changes to another. And it's very interesting topic. Even today even just now also I'm working on some phase transition activity. So that attracted me. But then I thought that why not I try play with radiation as a parameter. So use of radiation in such phase transition. So normally, in understanding radiation, sometime you use a phase transition just to understand radiation. Here I was using radiation to understand phase transformation. So that is something little different. And that was also very, very profitable. And I had a good success. So these are very interesting things in my career development. But I was only doing this. And it was not so much connected in a direct way of the departmental work. Then comes some opportunity comes. So some issues like NFC has a problem and that is referred. We do a little bit of thing. It's only of that type, nothing very big. But 500 megawatt design team came from NPC. They came to south side of BRC and started working. And then they decided that when they go for 500 megawatt, they will not use zircaloy tubes as a pressure tube, but zirconium 2.5 niobium. So this was immediately they gave the order to NFC. NFC made the tube, but it is not just meeting the property. Now we worked it. I mean, I have been working it from 1970 onwards. So I knew about the system, and fortunately, Mr. Balaram Murthy was the head of both Director Materials Group BRC and NFC chief. So the connecting between the two institutes, there is not much of a hurdle. And we got that reference, and we could even go to the plant and work with them, collect material. And intellectually, that was not a very great challenging job, but we could solve it in very simple way, not by you immediately ask for another major extrusion press or not like that. I mean, with the same system, same thing, with just some calibrating the process parameter in such a way that it met the requirement. And which obviously the industry people can do in some way, but we knew that what exactly should be done in modifying the structure. So it was a success. That is my linkage. First time I would say a major linkage with the departmental work. And then many such tubes are produced and are delivered, and they served well. Well, I think many of them have served for 18 to 20 years. I think Bharadwaj will be more accurate on those numbers. So it has worked well. So that was the beginning. Similarly, at that time, there was not immediately, not maybe slightly later, I was working on this phenomenon of shape memory, which is a very interesting phenomenon. And it's related to phase transition, martensitic phase transition, on which I was working. So we took that kind of work also, and as an academic exercise and not publishing and things like that. But from this light combat aircraft group, they wanted some specific coupling of shape memory alloy. So there was an issue of delivery. Dr. Madan Gopal, who joined us at that time, so he said that why not we also try to supply to them. And again, I would say almost like a miracle, we could provide them the material just produced from our laboratory, producing in some 100-gram quantity. But from there, the real product was coming out. So again, the story is long. Yesterday only Madan Gopal gave a seminar on this. So I don't want to repeat that. But it was also another very interesting point where our work was directly going into an application. And today, all LCAs, they fly with these couplings, and many of them, something like 200 couplings in a single aircraft. And there's a full-scale plant operating in HAL based on this technology. So this is yet another thing. So then this is how the career development science to that. Then I would say that one of the great advantages in BRC, not to come in the hierarchy fast, is very, you should never get promoted. Promoted means promotion you should get, but not come to the responsibility of becoming a head of section, head of division, all that. That will kill your any scientific work further. So that's a very dangerous thing. So if it comes late, it's okay, but it should not come very early in your career. So in my case, it was late. So that was a great advantage. And since it was late, but when it came, then you have other ambitions. And that's another very important thing that you can learn only in place like BRC. Because you get exposed to others' work. And when you start looking at others' work, say in metallurgy also, when you start seeing, of course, I was interacting with an extractive metallurgy with my friend, Dr. T.K. Mukherjee, my senior colleague who was also my boss for long years, Dr. C.K. Gupta, and getting that. And they were, in metallurgy division, this feeling was always that those who are active, some people are not very active, that's separate. But those who are active, they're constantly searching that how do I put myself into some use or break some understanding in something, have some interesting scientific result. So this kind of a thing is constantly there. So truly speaking, these people who are active, in their mind, they're really 24 hours working. Continuously, you are also thinking of that. How do here I know I have some friends like this Ashish Ray. He has been continuously struggling for making these electron beam machines. It's a very tedious task. Again, I don't want to talk too much on that, but the very, very tedious task. But this fellow is continuously after that. And for that, whatever is needed. So like Yakmi, of course, Yakmi is more on the basic side. And again, he is a scholarly person. So he reads a huge amount of material and tries to find out where there are gaps where he can fill up that and things like that. So this is how we got introduced to many more subjects in your domain or sometime outside even your domain. So that was in the, you tell me the time. I don't have a watch in front. Okay.
It's okay, sir. We are still.
So like that it goes on.
Only.
Yeah. So now then the next point is that, so in the division, I had few things because I felt that sometimes, not always, sometimes you get lost in a huge system like in BRC, where today something 10,000, at that time it was even 13, 14,000 people were working. So then what is your role? This identifying somebody's role in a big program is something very important, but it is not so well defined in our system. It has its good and bad point both. Good point is that you can say that I have a freedom. I can choose anything to do work on, and maybe slightly linked or sometimes even not even linked. So that freedom is there. Bad in terms of sometimes you lose out that because you are not in the mainstream. So this is a weakness of. So I made an attempt that is it possible to define as a head of the division, is it possible that every individual has a defined task, defined only. I'm not saying it is top driven. Top driven is that you say that what you should do. I'm not saying that. I only say whatever you are doing, can you not define? And not define by writing 2 pages, writing 2 lines. Is it possible to define that this is what I'm going to do in 2, 3 lines? Because then it becomes like a very small and clear definition. So that clear definition has to come, and clear definition should not be something stagnant. If it is a stagnant definition, then you what happens, then whatever is defined today, tomorrow also I keep ongoing work like this. This is not the way. You say this is defined for this particular time frame, and I have to keep on changing the time frame and have little different definitions because it's a clear definition. It's not a vague definition. Is it possible to introduce this kind of system? So this is one thing which I attempted. I can, and again, I would say a very interesting thing for me. You see, every division, our problem is that because of, mostly because of personalities, divisions are always broken. There's always fissioning of division. But I got an opportunity when there's a fusion of a division. 2 major division again joined back. So, and then there's a big metallurgy division came, and then I was made the head of the division. So that I was, how old I am? I was about 45 or so, 44, 45. Around that time, I became a head of the division. So in today's standard, that's also very early. But in those days, it was not very early. So when I became, then I had that opportunity. But after that, even then, you don't know much about even BRC. 50 years is not adequate to learn what is happening in BRC. Yes. So I've spent 50 years, I can tell you that very frankly, 50 years is not adequate for learning that what's happening in BRC. So then when I became the director of this place, or much before that, no, when I started joining this institution like Trombay Council, I never, you see, when sitting in the Trombay Council in the first early period, I was saying that why I'm sitting here for, I don't understand what is happening, what's going on. So I didn't understand the true spirit behind that. It took time. Then gradually it sunk in the mind that what's happening is that you are being inducted into the system. You know everything. I can give an instance on fixing some nurse's salary. There was a huge discussion. Dr. S.K. Sharma, Mr. S.K. Sharma, who was there in the reactor group head. So he was such a meticulous person to work it out. But, these are important. You cannot say that, oh, it is trivial. No, it's very important. It's important for so many persons' life. It's important for the whole organization. So you have to understand that as well. So this spirit comes only when you sit together. And every day after a good lunch on the 8th floor, then we sit together for several hours. Then you gradually sunk into the system. And it's very important. And that is, and same way, I mean, TSC also another role, but like that. So you gradually. Then I had to take the position of even director at BARC. That was even bigger challenge. So again, it was interesting because then the question was, you have to be a sort of fast learner, to learn something very quickly. And that is one step, but you have to start with a sense of appreciation. You see, in fact, to tell you very frankly, I dislike these managers. managers who manage things. I somehow I feel that management is not that way. You have to only understand things. So if you understand the thing system well, you don't have to manage. Management is automatic. They'll do their own management. But you must first of all see that what is being done, what for it is being done, and connect it with others. This getting connected is more important than just managing things. So this is how the career started in BRC, and opportunity came in various ways, and which I think I'll. So I think it's a very, even beyond retirement also, there was a different thing that I learned in different institutes, because I had an opportunity to serve as chairman of the board of governors of IIT. I was in Vishwabharati. I was in so many, in the IUCA, that is Inter-University now I'm in Inter-University Accelerator Center. That was in the Astronomy and Astrophysics Center. So I had no knowledge of astrophysics, but then you get this exposure. So one has to be really lucky, because unless you get this opportunity, how will you get exposed to these things? So I list out my luck one by one. First, in the beginning, to have a good boss and a good group. Second is the colleagues. I got a stream of good colleagues. I mean, really very, very bright people. Now, only small contribution I made in getting those colleagues with us, that I was teaching in training school. And while teaching in training school, I'll not say I'll force you to come to my own division or something, but you can induce. And that's the way you can get some good people. And we had really wonderful people. So all that, because what I learned from my colleagues is much more than what I could say, convey my things to them. So this was possible. This is another luck. Then I said that early luck in research is important. Well, some success gives you further success. So that's also very important. Then appreciation from, even I got the appreciation from people with whom I had no contact, nothing. But I got that. So that is also another thing. And then subsequently getting these opportunities in what you call it, in leadership positions. But there again, it was more, I wouldn't call myself as a leader, but more as a follower, to see what's going on, what's happening, and try to understand that what's going on. So that was my spirit behind my career growth. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I think it's really inspiring, and I think I need more time to absorb all that of what you have spoken. But I think you have already answered many of my questions which I had in my mind. Okay. And one point was this only, that what helped you to become what you are today. And as you mentioned, they are the colleague. So I want to introduce here Dr. Jatinder Yakhmi to share his views and his interaction in this part. If you can put some light on it, sir.
Yeah, thank you. First, I would say it's a pleasure to be sitting among these stalwarts, and particularly Dr. Banerjee. I would say from day one, I have observed him, because we were on the second floor, both of us, of Model Lab, the long corridors. Only thing, he was at far end of it, and I was somewhere in the middle, stuck between so many physics, physicists, and chemists. But let me say, I have been trying to answer the same question which Dr. Banerjee has more or less answered. So my job is easy. And Hitendra also said that, how does one scale such huge heights, which Dr. Banerjee has done? And in his case, it's very unique. He has done excellence in both fundamental research and basic research, as well as engineering, applied engineering, reactor engineering. You call all with so many names. When I'm thinking in mind, if I had to give a short reply, shortest of short, I give 3 yardsticks for that, particularly about Dr. Banerjee. First yardstick, we already explained that he has done exceedingly well both in science and in engineering. He has also explained quite a few things. Number 2, my yardstick is, when you cross a huge threshold, which very rarely any active scientist or engineer does, I think you automatically have humility and modesty. You have seen how humble he can sometimes be, and he can even put you in a sort of embarrassment, the way he can be so, inviting to make you. So all this comes because you have scaled a height, you have the confidence, you have done well. And third thing I would say is, you have to be a profound speaker. You may have done well. Are you able to convey it to the younger audience, inspire them, and bring them into the fold of good research and engineering? He has been able to do. I'll give you an example for that. For example, I recall 4 occasions when he held large audience, spellbound while delivering inaugural talks, where I was the convener of those conferences at Aurangabad, at Mysore, at Bhopal, and at Raipur. I mean, it is not a simple thing to go somewhere and hundreds of people are sitting and they don't belong to BRC or DA, most of them, but you end up inspiring them that they feel like talking to you, which he does. Now, another thing which I wanted to mention was, you have already mentioned, so my job is easy, it's cut out. Why he scaled those heights, so much height? Because he started early and he started with a bang. He mentioned it, Acta Metallurgica. This Actamet, he published in 1971. The title of the paper is Martensitic Transformations of Zirconium Niobium Alloys. Even if I read it today again, I've read it sometimes, you can learn a lot about twinning. What happens at 0.8% niobium, sudden threshold, something happens, metallurgically and all. I won't go into details. But he did it when he was less than 3 years into his BRC career, in 1971. And he's only being modest. He also was given tea at Taj Mahal by, hotel. For that, he was called to OIC and Dr. Brahma Prakash did give him. Okay. So, now I would like to mention that if you ask me 2 big things which he has done in research, both applied in this. One is zirconium titanium alloys, which have been used so much in the reactors he was mentioning. Second is shape memory alloys. The shape memory alloys, typically, not many people in India initiated or even followed up. Because to be able to publish a paper is something else. To actually put it in LCA doesn't belong that way to the Department of Atomic Energy. It is somewhere else. So that's a great thing to do. So I will mention those 2 things. Lastly, because I don't want to hold the time so much, how do outsiders look at you if you have scaled the heights? See, I may praise Dr. Banerjee because he's my man, my director, my chairman, my BRC and all that. What do non-DAE people who have never worked in DAE and who are senior to him in his own field, how do they speak about him? That is important to think. So I choose 2 people. One is Professor Knut Urban, Jülich man, maybe, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correct. He was the director of Institute of Microscopy Research at Jülich, in Max Planck, which he was mentioning. I didn't know at those days that Dr. Banerjee has actually gone and worked in that lab. I know he has gone to Germany. But I attended a lecture by this man, Professor Urban, who is 5 to 6 years older than him, and who was the boss of electron microscopy lab. He was giving an inaugural talk in Tel Aviv in Israel about 6 years ago. I was in the audience. I thought he was speaking the same language which Dr. Banerjee also speaks. So at the end of his talk, I met him and I said, "Do you know Dr. Banerjee?" He said, "Of course," and then the way he praised him and all, I think I need not go into those things. Second person, Professor S. Ranganathan, who is the distinguished professor at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Same subjects are common between him and he's also older than Dr. Banerjee by some 5 years. There was a one-day seminar held at BRC, I think in May 2010, commemorating Dr. Banerjee's all performances when he laid down the office of Director BRC and went to OIC to work exclusively as chairman. Till that time, he was acting for a few months, both the things. You should have seen how Professor Ranganathan was applauding his work. I think in my whole life I have never seen a big expert praising his younger colleague and his work to such an extent genuine. That's all I would like to say. Banerjee can give a comment on what I am saying.
Okay, so no, again, the two persons you have mentioned, actually, you may not be knowing that Urban is this year's Kavli Award winner. That's a Nobel Prize equivalent in the new subject where the Kavli Award is introduced. One is neuroscience, one is nanoscience, and the third one is in astrophysics.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is and he is the winner in that nanoscience. So he's very well known.
I think he also has Wolf Prize or something.
Yeah, he has got all of them. In fact, MRS Prize and all that. So, in fact, he is one person who came to. After my spending the time in Germany, we wrote a paper. But in German system, even a research paper is will not go out of the lab if it is not again verified by a second scientist on the same subject. Mm-hmm. So when I did that, immediately after that, they put a PhD student to work on it to again establish those things. So, but the paper, I was writing it in Bombay. So then a request came that he also wants to, but he was not really my mentor. He was not the head of the electron microscopy system. I didn't know even his existence. I came to know in a wonder room where we went together and all that. But then the request came that they will come and he will come and spend some time in BRC to finish the writing part of that entire work, or rather have the discussion. So this was a strange thing. It is normally we don't expect much of the senior people from the West to come to BRC. So when I placed the request, it was accepted by BRC authorities. So he came and he spent about, first instance, I think nearly two months or plus. He came second time and again spent some time like that. And he's a very interesting person also. He told me, you don't follow me like a shadow here. I have come here to independently see this country. Don't come with me. I said, okay, I don't want to. So, but he was staying in our hostel, and okay, he's a personal friend also. So for him to, but he complimented that many of the simple points, of course, in material science or that, he could get that understanding better in his visit to BRC. So this is a very big compliment. Similarly, Professor Ranganathan also knows my work, and he is one person who follows the work. He will be keeping on tracking each of your articles, read it, understand it, and connect it. So he's also. So I think these two compliments what you have given is. I have forgotten to mention one very important event in my life. That was staying for 1 month in BHU. In BHU, they organized one advanced metallography summer school. So I spent there. And during that time, I interacted with stalwarts in metallurgy, because BHU metallurgy was the topmost at that time. Professor Anandaraman, Professor Ranganathan, Ramarao, Professor Lele, Professor Ramchandra Rao. So they are really stalwarts, and with them directly. And there that summer school was that there are teachers, but those who are attending, they are also given a chance to talk. By that time, my paper in Actamet also appeared. So they gave me a big slot for that, and I gave a talk, so which was very much appreciated. So then in the eyes of those senior people, my standing went up. So that was another luck, I would say, for which again it has helped me in my career growth.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I think keeping track of the time, I would like to move on to second section where I really want to discuss the main event which you see or you can enlighten us with, which are of the national importance. Because as you already mentioned that you developed the new pressure tube for the for our Indian reactors and that kind. So if you can enlighten few of these
Yeah.
achievements which could be connected with the development of Indian nuclear program in a large way.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I would not claim that these are due to me. No. So this is like main point is that. So when I came as a director of BRC, so the first thing that came that what are our big commitments, and this is a very important thing because as a director you have to see that what are our commitments and can you fulfill them.
Uh-huh.
Imagine in the year when I became director, it was 2004,
Yeah.
and our commitment for the fast reactor program to provide all that fuel. We are not mentioning the quantity and all that, but you know that is a large quantity. That quantity of fuel to provide to the Bhabini for making the reactor critical was almost an insurmountable job, because at that time our reprocessing plants were not working so well, but and the projects are on, but everything, all projects get delayed in our time scale. We don't have any control on that. So this was one of the very serious issues which was there always in the upper on the mind. And second important thing was also that for BRC, on the supplies to the strategic side, our commitment is very large. And that was also a burning issue, because in 1998 Pokhran 2 happened, and the real issue of the country's nuclear weaponization, which is requiring a number, which requires many, many things, which we can't go into the detail, but our involvement is very deep. And to fulfill that commitment is also a second big issue. Third issue, I would say, another strategic program, and that was also coming to a maturity. Dr. Bharadwaj will know much about it, on the nuclear submarine. There are also commitment, particularly of the fuel, enriched material. So, and we are in the path. I'm not saying that we are nowhere, but from that time to making it a delivery in time, because everything is linked with that. It was a Herculean task. These are major tasks for BRC. Parallelly, there was also, I would say, another very interesting thing. See, on nuclear agriculture, there was a big thrust that has been given. We have developed the seeds, but then the question is, how does it make impact to the Indian agriculture? So that is different. One is successful in making seeds and mutated seed, which has much better property. You have shown it in kind of a lab environment, but bringing that to the field is a completely different task. Dr. S.F. D'Souza, who was just a month and a half back, his demise has come, but he was a pioneer in that area to connect with the different agricultural universities and also translating that to the, and even that, I remember this, going to this Kishan Mela where some 5,000 the farmers will come and meet. It was such an experience, so the great experience. This is one part of it. Look at BRC. BRC structure is such about 4,000 scientists. Out of that, I would say all that I have listed, that will count something like 1,000 people. What about the remaining 3,500 people? So if you take a view that, okay, these are my focused activity and we concentrate only on this, the rest are not important. But I came from the rest. My personal belonging is from the rest and not in these kind of a focused areas. So I had a very strong feeling that we must look at a kind of those who are doing individual science or a small group science. They have some aspiration and that should also be fulfilled. So this is a I would say dichotomy, because these are not exactly matching. Their ambitions are different, their methodologies are different, their scales are different, all are different. So how to bring a balance between these two? This bringing a balance. And this one, see, one of the great advantage that I had is my boss was Dr. Kakotkar. So his full support. So if you don't have your support from the seniors, you cannot do things well. So he had given the full support, and we had to see that how we can achieve each of these segments as I just mentioned. Even a simple thing I'll tell you, even for the PABR, the total quantity of boron carbide that we have to supply and making it into that specification was a very big challenge. It was, and also enriched boron. So there are some, and this is where I learned that if we really take up a directed objective, BRC or DAE environment is such, we can fulfill. It may appear impossible. Even as Director Bark, I would say that I felt that it is not possible, to tell you frankly today. But we made it possible, each of them. We are much ahead of in supplies of fuel for the PABR. We are much ahead in boron carbide in that much quantity supply, all of them. And how involved? Boron carbide has nothing to do with heavy water board. But finally, a major production item was done by heavy water board, electrolysis. They just had some 22 cells to doing the electrolysis. Fantastic work. So this is possible, but for this, what needs to be done, that, I think it is not just by formal communications and all that. It has to be with little bit of personal approach. Because we can go to not only your batchmates, even others also, and tell something. Many times Kalkotkar used to tell some of the major activities of BRC has done without writing a project report. And that is our spirit, that you don't have to always write a project report, be formal about it, do it, and take it up like that. I can give you one more example of earlier generation, Sheshadri, who was there in Sheshadri. It seems the first solar cell in the country which went to the space was actually made in BRC. It was, I think in 1984 or so it was supplied. So when the meeting was going on, then somebody said that who will do it, and we can't get it done. So Sheshadri said, we'll make it. After coming out of the meeting, he said, what is that? So that's the spirit. And we have that spirit. It is really possible for us to do anything if we wish. And I didn't believe it even in the first part as a Director Bark, but later this belief came to me that we have that much strength. And it was possible. So this was I think a great learning for me to see the strength of our institution and strength. By institution, I'm not saying just BRC. BRC and DAE, the colleagues in DAE, colleagues in NPC or NFC or anywhere you go. I think we can take the same spirit there and can do it. If this we can maintain, in spite of many obstacles come on the path. See, I remember that in our activity on, say, radiometallurgy side and all that, our colleagues, they used to cry that, oh, nothing is happening like that in the beginning. And imagine today where they stand. So it is in post-radiation examination, I think we are one of the best in the world. And how it is possible to come to this level? And this has all been because of that spirit that you may have problems, but we'll come out of that problem. And that's how each of these we could successfully do. So that was my biggest, I would say that achievement, I would say, consider as a director of BRC. So then in the chairman position, it's a different kind of exposure, completely different, because I never had any interaction with political personality, leadership in the country and all that, but those opportunities came as you come to the chairman position, and very complex things. Then public unrest, and you have to handle that, and those things also. That's also like in Kudankulam we had, or even facing international events like Fukushima. It comes and then you have to face that situation. You have to talk to your people. You have to go and give a presentation even to the Prime Minister of the country to say that what exactly, and in a small group, and what is the implication of that? Or there are many such things. Or even facing, even in Vienna, the BBC wanted a kind of a meeting. It's a debate on nuclear energy. So attending those. So these are attending this large number. I think one of in the history of Indian Parliament, the parliamentary committee meeting on the civil liability on nuclear damage act was perhaps one of the longest. 14 days. 14 days the meeting went on, not consecutively, over a period. So there are a lot to learn from each of these. And we could come out, I think, from all those issues today. So these are the great experiences in my, I wouldn't say these are my contributions, these are my experiences in the atomic energy area, where it has impacted the national scenario in a big way.
Thank you, sir. I think I'll take few points here from Bhardwaj sir, because he was at the NPCIL at that time. Maybe he can give us some more details about it, how he feels in this manner. Bhardwaj sir, what you would like to add to this?
Well, I think first I must thank Nitendra, that I am one of the chosen 3 friends of Dr. Banerjee. I am always a shishya of him, though I look older, but I am not. We still have the Guru-Shishya relationship with him. And secondly, I always thought I have been so close to him, finally, when he became Director BRC and later. But today I realize that I have a blindsman touch to him. I only know his tail. Most of the things I am coming to know today, and I think there must be much more to learn. You have put a time restraint. So thank you very much. In fact, he has explained so beautifully, which I will not be able to add much, but I will do something on the nuclear power sector. In fact, he may not remember, but when this zirconium niobium work started, and it started with a bang, suddenly it became very, very urgent post Pickering accident. I used to be a very junior engineer sitting in corner on the meeting. He will not know me. He was also not in the front. It was Dr. Balram Murthy, Dr. Asundi and other people. But then it was training school engineering committee, if he remembers well, that we became very close in that committee. And we had to write a syllabus, update the syllabus. On the committee, there were mechanical engineers, Dr. Kushwaha, Gantayat, chemical engineers. But then he wrote the syllabus single-handedly. He knew everything of mechanical, be it solid mechanics, be it codes, everything on chemical, kinetics and all, anything, and instrumentation. So that is where I realized that this person is not a metallurgist alone. Zirconium, niobium I have been hearing, but he is much more. He knows the full spectrum. So that was very clear to me. In fact, he has told some part of it, how he got into this. But when he became director, we used to meet in some DA committee meetings, and one committee meeting used to take place regularly on first Monday of every month. And he used to watch, the conflict between NPCIL and NFC. There used to be zirconium shortage. And there used to be regular conflict. One day, suddenly I got an office order from DAE signed by Chairman AEC, Dr. Kakodkar, saying that the board of NFC has been reconstituted. And I opened the order and it said, Dr. Banerjee, Director BRC, is a member of the board. Dr. Baldev Raj is a member of the board. Dr. Hiremath from Heavy Water, who was the chief executive, is a member of the board. And Mukherjee was also a member from IARL. Of course, he had retired by that time from there. And there were many senior people. And I am chairman of the board. So I immediately contacted him that there is something wrong. I think there is some typographical error. The first name should have been, but the second name should have been the first name. He said, no, this order is drafted by me. And you have to act. So he said just now that when he became director, he was a very fast learner. He was a very fast man to act also. Moment he realizes the problem, he will act and act very firmly. And he gave me the order that, this new zirconium plant near Tuticorin is not making progress. It must get finished in construction and get commissioned. So that was my task, also well defined. And he would remember that when we were inaugurating that plant, Dr. Kakodkar was inaugurating as chairman. And during the inauguration, we got the information that he has succeeded as chairman AEC. That was the day, if he remembers very correctly, that the order came that he's taking over chairman AEC. So he has been so humble, I have seen, and very firm also at the same time. He has participated in our board meetings, and I used to chair the board meetings. That is, what happens. And this is one example I'm giving. There are some others like this. Well, as Chairman AEC has already mentioned, the life became very complex. Though he had many other things, he has mentioned about fuel supply and the strategic regions, but the life became very complex after this 123 agreement in particular, and there were CL&D issues. I have seen him negotiating. He used to be the last negotiator after all of us we have exhausted. Very tough negotiations, and very politely he'll be firm with all the three companies which we were dealing with. There were lawyers from those companies who came to India, and the meeting almost used to start as a threatening note. But then it will end in a very friendly way, and they have not succeeded. Who succeeds is Dr. Banerjee. We have seen that, he had a lot of good initiatives, very innovative initiatives in matters of progress of DAE. But then administration as it is, is very opaque to new ideas. And I've seen that how much time he had to put a note, revise a note, and go on, but he will never lose his patience. And in all those things, Fukushima, for example, I remember we had to face, I had to actually support him in a women's reporters association, and they were shouting that iodine has come from Fukushima to Delhi, and you are not revealing. So that was the complexity. CL&D 14 days was a very, very tough time. We were at the back office, but it was very, very tough time. In all that, still in the morning walk, you cannot keep pace with him. He is not ruffled at all. You cannot keep pace with him. You cannot travel the same distance. He travels also so long. So that is his personality, which I have seen all through. Of course, I joined at the end, but I have one question to him. Since you mentioned TED Talks, I can ask a question?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, it will be a slightly technical type of question. This sustainability issue which you have been discussing, and today the total picture, not only Indian, the global picture. In India, we have succeeded, and I think we are ahead of the world in the back-end processing of the spent fuel. We are ahead of the world. And by the time the thorium is fully utilized in this country, we will not be leaving much of the long-term waste. It will be all taken care of by our three-stage program. And the technology has been developed already. It is in the pipeline, and this has been done under your guidance. And this is the model only which will succeed for nuclear power. Why rest of the world is not picking it up? In fact, that is, it is so clear that unless you handle the back end like the way India is handling, you cannot sustain nuclear power. And that is where the opposition comes from. Some selected countries and other countries are not able to decide. So what is your view, since you meet international people? So that is my question which I pose to you. Thank you.
This is my personal view that one of the main issues that comes is on the mixing up the nuclear power with the nuclear weapon program and the issue of non-proliferation. And the main point is that the closed cycle is not something which is accepted by many countries, many countries which has a large nuclear program. And that is one thing. You must be knowing the story that one of the best method of going forward for thorium utilization is with the molten salt reactor. In fact, there's a lecture, but I missed it because there was a parallel thing going on with me, so I could not. On molten salt reactor, the major thrust was given by Oak Ridge. Weinberg is the person who did it. And he ran it for 5 years, something like most likely 8 megawatt thermal kind of a plant. So it is not something which is to be experimented in the lab scale. It is already a technology which can, and with effort, it can definitely be made into something. But all that will work only when you think of closed cycle. Without closed cycle, this has no meaning. And if you fundamentally say that closed cycle is not acceptable, then there is no way of, in fact, there's a law in US that you cannot have a closed cycle. So that is the main issue in the and worldwide this kind of thing. But some other countries where there's a possibility they're doing it and eventually it will come. I think it's only a kind of a temporary phase. See, everybody knows that in the spent fuel that your resources are there. You reprocess it today, tomorrow, or maybe day after. Still, it is always there. So you don't have to go to the mine to collect it. So this feeling that you don't have to go to the mine to collect the fuel, but you have it in maybe very big area, but it's not as difficult as going to the mine to collect from some 0.03% uranium content from there to uranium. So there is a great advantage. So this is one thing. Second, of course, is on the second reason is that the success, which I would say that, in fact, it's a great thing that mostly Germany has done to start with, that on the progress in the solar and wind. But the realization is increasingly coming that you must have a base load supplier. And non-carbon base load, there's no other option but nuclear. So this is one thing which is sinking in, I think, in the minds of the people. And eventually this will be prevailing. This is my personal feeling that we always have. And in that, you know, the second important point which comes that is it not possible to, the problem of the size is another thing. Bigger is better is somehow has hammered into our mind. But bigger is not always better. Smaller can also be, overall, can be more optimum than making it bigger and bigger, because it looks very simple that if I have a 500 megawatt 2 reactors, it is more expensive from the tariff point of view. But if you make it into a 1000 megawatt reactor, that is arithmetic. But real speaking, if you take all things into account, then maybe even Y500, even some 200, 300 megawatt into 5 reactors, maybe ultimately cheaper than 1000 megawatt reactor. So that concept also is, but it's gradually sinking in. In fact, very recently, I think only few days back, 2-3 days back, Bill Gates has announced about the small size reactor complementing the solar and wind to make a sustainable supply. So it's going to come like that. So I think, but in a way, I would say that we are a little slow in venturing into this variety of things. But if you do that, then our focus will get lost. That also is true. So one has to debate on that. I'm not suggesting anything. But in a way, we should try to explore these possibilities eventually, both in molten salt as well as medium and small size reactors to be able to. And our 3-stage program still stands. The 3-stage program evolved in the 50s, and you read some of the papers of those days. And the whole ambition at that time, you know, this was fact that it was told that nuclear power will be so cheap one day that you don't have to meter it. I think Baba said that. And it stands, I wouldn't say that it stands true today, not that way, but I would only say that the crux of the matter, that yes, an unlimited supply of electricity, particularly for the base load, can be provided by nuclear over a period, not just in centuries, but for even a millennium, is possible by nuclear. So that's why I think this is very important. And of course, our Nitendra is now working for fusion once that happens. But again, in fusion, not many people talk about where from you will get the tritium. See, if you can, let us take everything works well. Your ITER, demo, everything works well. Who is going to give you tritium? You may have to come back to Bharadwaj to get that PHWR to produce tritium. Otherwise, how will you get tritium? What is the question? Nobody, is there any question? I don't see that question coming anywhere. So that way, our course, the way we have taken is perhaps the right course even for the future. Have I answered, or have I diverted?
Yeah, you have answered, but we are in a different context, I think, than the rest of the world. Nitendra, you give me 30 seconds more to make a remark.
Sure, sir. Sure, please.
Yeah.
Please.
You know, he mentioned about his basic research and how he shifted gears and went to the highest position. And then the life became very complex over there. But then he did not lose touch with those research elements. I would state that, you know, for 700 megawatt, when we wanted to move from 500 to 700, we decided that let us have a second look at the specifications, second look at the manufacturing route, at the process, and whether any improvements are possible with the latest knowledge. And yes, BRC scientists came up with modifications in the process at NFC so that the texture can be improved and it will give better properties, creep and all that. But finally, when everything was done and a lot of samples were tested and it was confirmed that yes, there is an improvement, everybody said, but I think we should take opinion from Dr. Banerjee, and he was chairman AEC. So I contacted him. He said, yes, I will walk into your meeting. When is your meeting? So he walked into our meeting, which was taking place in Anushakti Nagar. And people explained what they have done. And he said, yes, this is okay, but you are dealing with a pressure boundary material. So please requalify this material as a pressure boundary material as per all ASME terms and conditions. They will apply. People said, but it was done earlier. He said, nothing doing. You have diverted even microscopically from the original process. So you have to redo. And that was the depth of his, you know, scientific touch. And again, we saw after we had an incident in Kakrapar where a pressure tube leaked. And again, his help was sought. That was after his retirement. So he has not lost touch with his, you know, the basics of research elements. And you cannot, I think, manage without him. So that is the remark I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We are already running late by 15 minutes or so, but our very important section is still remaining. I wanted to discuss about your personal life, but just one quick question. Maybe you can give one quick remark on it. We have received one question from Atomic Energy Commission from Argentina, and they wanted to see if it is possible to have some sort of collaboration with India and Argentina. Just a quick remark, then we'll move on to your personal life. Thank you, sir.
Again, my answer also can be given from my personal side and not from kind of an official way. Mm-hmm. And I think there is no difficulty on that, particularly when we share the same kind of reactor system.
Exactly.
And scientifically, the kind of collaboration has already been there earlier also. It's not that it's going to be initiated now. I remember the name of Dr. Abrieta, who eventually became the chairman of their Atomic Energy Commission. Mm. I didn't know him, but we were referring each other's paper since the 1970s. So, and I had an opportunity to meet him in IAEA meeting sometime in 2009 or 10. So scientific interaction is always there, but formal interaction there has been, because in fact I visited also Argentina and with Dr. Kakotkar. So we have some framework, but whether the framework is still valid today or not, I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I want to take this very interesting session as well, for which is the segment of personal life. We want to know about how your journey began, where you when your upbringing, your schooling, and leading to IIT Kharagpur, where Dr. Ashish was there as your friend and colleague, and both of you later joined the BRC or the department. So some insight, if we can start with that, and then I'll add Dr. Ashish as well for his remarks on that, sir, please.
Okay. My personal life is, I think, is more or less a normal life. It's not much of upheavals. And let me tell you that when we came to schooling and all that, I was in a government school, a very good government school. Today, those standards are not there, but I think in our time, the best schools in the Calcutta were some of the government schools. So one of them in Ballygunge Government High School. And we had some excellent teachers who motivated. Even subjects like physics was taught so well. So I still remember the teacher and the way he taught. Then came to IIT life. IIT is but to tell you frankly, in IIT, somehow I was more impressed by the teaching in basic sciences. They were great teachers. But in the engineering areas, there are few. See, electrical engineering was taught very well, but not all subjects. Or even another very great subject was in thermodynamics by the mechanical engineering. See, I had thermodynamics course from chemistry, from mechanical engineering, from material science. 3 different thermodynamics courses. Approaches are different. Many of the terminologies are common. So I remember those things. But IIT also gives you the confidence. That's very important. That is where I think is very important, that you can do things, because you have to manage a course sometimes in one night study. So that you can do things quickly, but at the same time appear in the exam. So that spirit came from that IIT studies. So that was my IIT study, but IIT has not given me so much in the orientation towards research. Mm-hmm. This is what I would say, that BRC provided that. But I will not say that in any division in BRC you'll get that. But the division where I was placed, I had that good fortune that they gave me that orientation in research in the very early part of the career. So that is how the early part of career started. And I think then let Ashish ask me something, I'll respond.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ashish, if you may add some more to it.
Jitendra, how much time do you have?
Sir, we are already 20 minutes late, but we can take.
We'll take it. Okay.
We can take the important information, of course.
Okay. Before I go for his personal life, I have one comment to make, because hearing all my colleagues make various comments about his activities, Banerjee's activity. The thing is that I have seen him grow with time, right from our training school days. What I have seen, that he started in BRC in electron microscope. From there, he changed to short crystallography. He attended crystallographic classes of Dr. Chidambaram. Then I found he has started taking interest in solid state physics. He's talking of Schrodinger equation. Mm-hmm. And then parallelly, he talks of thermodynamics. From thermodynamics, he goes to heat transfer on one side, chemical reaction on the other side. So what I found, that we have been all concentrating our activities standing at one point where he was freely moving around all the fields. So this is what has perhaps made Dr. Banerjee, and we are like what we are. As if we have this physical sciences, chemical sciences, engineering sciences, they all intricately are interwoven, something like a big carpet. And he is like moving on the carpet freely, where we are standing at one corner of the carpet, we are standing at one corner of the carpet and trying to master. So that is the beauty of Dr. Banerjee's vision and Dr. Banerjee's vision. I will not spend time on that. I will not spend time on that. I had some questions in my mind, but no, that will I go to personal life. You see,
yes, please.
Dr. Banerjee joined IIT, we all know. He joined IIT, we all know. Got admission to IIT during that time. He had got admission into He had got admission in Presidency College, Calcutta, Presidency College, Calcutta. He got admission there as well as an IIT. But he has chosen IIT. Now, I know after being with him for such a long time, I know that he has slightly spiritual bend of mind. So my first question.
Sir, I want to interrupt. There is some echo problem. Just we'll check with it. Sorry to interrupt.
Can I respond immediately without losing time? You see, Ashish, I think you are
start now.
Ashish,
Yes.
You are wrong. I think this is I had applied for the physics department in the Presidency College, and then I also got the chance in IIT Kharagpur. But my first preference was physics. But the number of seats in physics was so limited. It was for the higher secondary students. It was only some 18 or so. And I was very close, but I didn't get the chance. Otherwise, I would have come to physics in Presidency College.
I think what is a loss for physics, there is a gain for BRs. So anyway, now that we have grown together in BRC, I have always found that you had slight inclination towards spirituality. I'll just go into that straight away instead of other things. You have slowly grown with time, and you have been a good follower, great follower, admirer of Swami Vivekananda. And we had many discussions on that. You have even gifted me a book, Works of Swami Vivekananda, gifted me that book. And you have grown into a chairman at the Atomic Commission, all right, but parallelly you have contributed significantly on some socio-religious organizations. So please tell the audience that what do you do it, and how do you manage this? Doing science, engineering one side, and your personal spirituality on the other side. So please elaborate on that.
I think this will take time, so I'll not take much of elaboration. I'll only say that I had absolutely no conflict or contradictions in these two things, in the scientific pursuits, and what I would say that in trying to sort of understand our relationship with the nature, or with and in that sense, a little philosophical thoughts. So obviously, being a Bengali, our domain of interactions were, see, the great people like both Vivekananda, Ramakrishna on one side and Tagore on the other side. This has been very profound, their influences, particularly their writings, the songs, and that has influenced my thinking in a very big way. Let me dilute this a little bit. This question is too difficult to answer in short time, but it helps. I'll give you one example to illustrate it, but I have to talk on strains in biology, stress in biology. Stress biology is a subject, inaugural talk. I know nothing of that subject. So how do I meet the audience? So I started telling them that the stress and strain everybody does in their school by taking a wire and putting some load and looking at the expansion of that concept of Hounsfield tensometer. This experiment everybody has done in the school. So that is what is the independent variable and what is a dependent variable. Independent variable is the strain, dependent variable is the stress which is developed in the material. So this I started. At the end of it, I said, now you think of biological system is on human mind, stress on human mind. So stress on human mind, then I immediately said that, there's a wonderful poem by Tagore where he's talking that if you take a incense stick, it doesn't give you the fragrance unless it is fired. If you take a lamp, it doesn't give light unless it is fired. So you need pain. You need that sort of a thing to come. The best out of your feelings may come out only when you are putting under that stress. And that is what so the talk was very much appreciated. So now the point is that, so there are, if you take these concepts from different areas, you find that you can harmonize it very easily. And that is only a thing that you do it in your own mind. So it's in this process you become, I would say, you get don't call it so much spiritual, but connecting things of different nature, but you can bring them together. So this is what happened. But this is all through only by reading these stalwarts, and which I did little bit, and also the exposure that I had. So that's a straight and simple answer. But you asked, and one more thing I must mention, that in your personal life, I lost my mother at a relatively young age, not very young. After I joined BRC, then suddenly, then my father was with me. And this also has he was not, he was fit, but he was not, he has some problem of heart. So, so we have to be little cautious. And that has helped me in a big way, because then we had to generally be homebound. So I had a routine of coming back from office and then be there at home and studying just like a schoolboy. My reading table and my son's reading table were side by side. So exactly like like people come back and home and do homework, I had to do the same way. So that made into a practice. So this was one good thing. And then secondly, the support that I got from my wife, because she took care of the entire family thing. I didn't have to look at anything. So those support is important, and all along, even today. So this kind of a thing helped in a very big way in your own pursuit of either science or technology, or even getting involved in that. Then let me answer one of Bharadwaj's thing in another way, in a little. See, after this Fukushima, I had to do one talk the walk with that Shekhar Gupta. He's a great journalist. Even now, I think he does this talk the walk. So I explained, and that explanation even today is valid, that what exactly has happened in Fukushima. We had the initial information from there, just when next 1 or 2 days after that. And right, this was in the in front of the Rashtrapati Bhavan, that walk the talk was there. When everything is over, they are removing the mics from they attach, several things on your body, so and you walk, you recorded. So that time he asked a question, but don't you think worried? Shekhar Gupta asked. It's a kind of a personal question. I said, yes, I'm very much worried. This kind of a thing happening, I'm very much worried that about the safety of nuclear reactor and all that. But then I added one small punch. I just mentioned, but I'm more worried on walking on the roads of Delhi or driving on this road. So that last sentence became a real bold headline in the newspaper. Because, and then there are some opposition also came in some journals, that why, but nobody could oppose, because the statistics will say the kind of danger that we have on the road incidents and damage from nuclear reactors. So statistics will definitely sound that. So but these things don't also come by your thinking. These are spontaneous. So many a time your reaction comes so spontaneously. And then I bring again Ashish's point. This is what I would call providence. This is what I would call that, as if what I'm saying is not what I am saying, but it is coming in my mind and I'm saying. So it's not really this kind of a body that you're seeing is that what that is saying, but it's something else. And that brings the spirit of the spirituality.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. One more question.
One more, not just to add, one information.
Yes, sir, please.
Banerjee's wife is an extremely good hostess.
Wow.
And we have enjoyed it enormously. If you people don't know, then please note it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think we have already covered 1.5 hours. but I don't think I'm still feeling completed. I would like to continue for it, but we are limited with time. So before concluding the session, sir, I would like you to nominate, like this is the tradition we started during our first episode as well, that I would like you to nominate three more people who you feel should be the part of being informal with in our next episodes.
I think since you are taking in this only very senior people, but I had actually two options. Either you take senior people or the working people. But for them, you are having a separate plan.
Yes, sir. For that, we are having a
Yeah.
separate plan.
So in this, I would recommend then, if you take Bhavalkar, who is in
Okay.
Indore. Bhavalkar, because this is one, and he will give a perspective of the development of that RR-CAT and that synchrotron. So that is something which is very important. I would say for the fast reactor, you can take any name, but Chetal will be is very active person. Chetal.
I was
So you
looking
can
for
take
him.
that. And for our now the president of INS, have you taken him?
Not yet, sir. I would love to have him.
No, you take him because he has some early stories, and we should not miss out from that.
Exactly.
So, Mr. S.K. Mehta.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So that will be very good to have the early story of this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Before I conclude, I want to tell all my viewers that we launched the IYNS newsletter, our first IYNS newsletter last month, and this month, our newsletter is also coming, and it will be available on the website on September 1st. So with that note, and we'll contact all these nominees, and depending on their availability, we'll try to include them in our upcoming episodes. Thank you so much to all of you for sparing your time with us and enlightening us with a lot of information. Your journey has been an inspiration for all of us, and I think as the young mind, as the younger colleagues of you, of yours will follow it to have some pursuit in their own life, and we can get a good success out of it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone who has joined us on YouTube Live. Thank you so much. We'll keep continue with the same spirit. See you next month with someone new, someone very special, and one new inspiring story. Thank you so much.